here we go. We are fired up to be with you for the first time in 2026. Welcome to Inside Seminole Basketball, live from Glory Days Grill in Tallahassee. How's everybody doing tonight, Knowles fans? How we feeling? We are fired up to be here, talking all things Florida State basketball, and have a great show for you here this evening. Without further ado, let's give a big round of applause to the star of the show, the head coach, Luke Laux. Everyone here with us on Wednesday night. Coacher,
how you doing?
It's great to see you, sir, as always. How are you doing this week?
I'm doing great. It's an honor to be here. I appreciate all you guys coming out. My family's here with me. I was trying to explain to my kids what this is all about.
Yeah.
I couldn't really explain it to them. I'm like, it's radio, but it's on TV.
Yeah.
And they were asking questions, so it's pretty cool for them to be here and see this and get to know some Seminole faithful that are cheering us on through thick and thin.
I'm curious about what's being scarfed down on over there. We got grilled cheese.
Charlie, what are you eating?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Smiling
we got
yes.
some grilled cheese.
There we
got
go.
Some fries. All the healthy stuff.
All the good stuff.
I thought we were getting broccoli, but all I see is fries over there.
Sounds like what I ate over the holidays. Hence how I look right now, everybody.
That's
we got
right.
a great show for you. Coming up a little bit later on in the program, Chauncey Wiggins will be here tonight. Looking forward to that. And also our general manager and assistant coach of Florida State basketball, Michael Fly, is on the show tonight as well. Well, Coach, we are 2 games into ACC play. We'll talk about NC State a little bit later on tonight. Last week, I guess, hey, first-year head coach, welcome to the ACC. You get Carolina and Duke to start things off. And I know even though we didn't get the results we wanted at the end of the day, I know there were a lot of encouraging things you saw from your guys in both those games last week.
Yeah, 100%. The other day, someone sent me the late, great Bobby Bowden. Someone sent me one of his quotes of, you got to learn how to lose big, and then you lose small, and then you win big, and then or you win small, and then you win big. And it's all part of building a program. And I know way back in the day when he came to Florida State, he went through some of that. His first few seasons were, laying down the foundation of hopefully what eventually Florida State basketball is, and he went through that, eventually turning Florida State football into a powerhouse. But we lost some games earlier in the season that were really disappointing. Yeah. And I didn't think we competed at the level we were capable of, and we got the brakes beat off us, and it was embarrassing for everyone. I would prefer to skip those first 2 steps of losing big and losing small, but that's where you learn. Yeah. That's where you learn how to press guys, how to motivate guys, how to work on all the things that go into winning, how to learn from your mistakes, what goes into laying the foundation of who we eventually want to be, and that is a team that competes day in and day out and wins championships. And so those 5 games were a real struggle for us. But since then, our whole identity to me has shifted in terms of it doesn't matter who we play. It doesn't matter what day of the week. It doesn't matter if it's a practice, a game, a drill. We're going to compete. And I think you've seen that if you know basketball a little bit or just watch the game against Carolina and Duke. I wasn't pleased with the result, but I was pleased with our effort. And if we play that hard consistently through the ACC, we're going to win a lot of games.
Yeah. What do you feel like during that stretch where you didn't play your best brand of basketball? You came back, you got a couple of wins right before the holiday, took a little break, and then came back and played Carolina and Duke the way you did from an effort and competition standpoint. What do you feel like as a coaching staff during that time? What were the things, the buttons that you pushed with these guys that you felt like maybe turned some light bulbs on after that stretch in the month of December?
Yeah, the one thing I think really helped us was the Christmas break, where the kids aren't in school. You have a ton of time to work with them, and we spent a lot of time off the court working with our guys. Our theme this year is connected, and I didn't feel like in those games we were as connected as we should have been. And that comes from, if you see someone as a teammate not doing their job, you got to let them know. That's the accountability that we're looking for. It can't always come from me and our staff. The locker room's got to want it. Yeah. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter how much I want to win or how much I want things to go well. You guys got to go produce. And I think over this stretch of the holiday break, our team became much closer off the court. Our team is in a really good spot. And in these times, especially when you lose, really there's only 2 options. Either you splinter or you come together. And to the credit of our guys, they've come together in a really special way, which is encouraging for our staff to see. And that eventually leads to results, whether you think so or not. The connected teams that work really hard and work together eventually win games.
In that Duke game last Saturday, Florida State had, and these are items that were keys to success in a big-time way. Luke Laux' Noles had more second-chance points than the Blue Devils that day, more points in the paint, and actually led for a longer period of time in the game, 19 minutes and 45 seconds compared to 17:02 for the Blue Devils. Again, encouraging items. If you'd have told me, I think I said this to you in the post game, you said before the game, hey, you're going to get more second chance points and you're going to beat them in the paint with their size, I would have said, shoot, I'd sign up for that any day of the week and twice on Sunday.
Yeah, and most of the time, like I said, that leads to winning games.
Right.
And going back to Bobby Bowden's quote, you have to learn how to lose those small games to correct those mistakes and eventually beat teams that, quote unquote, on paper are better than you.
Yeah.
And you know, all those stats sound good. At the end of the day, it was still a loss, which I'm not happy about, and I know our guys aren't happy about. But those items you mentioned, especially the rebounding and protecting the paint and protecting the rim, that in that 5-game losing streak, we were atrocious at keeping the ball out of our paint. We were giving up uncontested layups and dunks, which is unacceptable. You'll get beat 10 times out of 10 doing that. And we were getting destroyed on the glass. And to me, rebounding, some of it's size, but most of it, 90% of rebounding is just effort and focus and learning how to attack your man and then go attack the ball. And those are things we weren't doing. And now that we are doing them, you see the results. All of a sudden you go from losing big time and now we're losing these close games that still hurt, but we're definitely making the progress that you want to see as a coach.
Yep. Time now for our truest hero of the game. Hey, when you work with someone who knows a lot and cares even more, you're unstoppable. So start feeling like it today. Visit Truist.com/care. Truist, leaders in banking, unwavering and care. Truist Bank, member FDIC. We'll talk to him later tonight on the show. He's over here to our left. Chauncey Wiggins had one heck of a week last week, Noles fans. His second career double-double against Carolina, then came back with an ACC career-high 22 points versus Duke, and he also tied a career high with 4 threes made in that contest. And you've said it. When Chauncey plays well, we're going to shot to beat anybody out there in college basketball.
Yeah, first off, I don't know how much Truist is paying you and paying us, but that was an unbelievable little ad you squeezed in there. You did an unbelievable job with that.
It's the first show. You got to come out strong, Coach.
Truist, your money's well spent on that. Chauncey, earlier in the season, Chauncey had a couple rough games, and we've pulled him aside. Chauncey is so talented and he's such a good kid and he works so hard that in those times where he was struggling, there's a couple games where he just didn't produce. We reassured him, number one, that we believe in you and you're here for a reason and you're a huge part of our team. And not that this should be pressure, but we cannot win games if you don't produce. And to his credit, he's worked extremely hard in the gym. He's worked to grow his relationships with his teammates, but most importantly, that work is now translating to on-court results. And you see when Chauncey Wiggins is good, we're a really good team. It's as simple as that. We need his production. Like I said, he's got an extreme amount of talent. He's got a good combination of size and skill that you just can't teach. And when he puts his best effort forward, we're a really tough team. And last couple of games, in particular, Duke, that effort obviously led to a lot of individual production, but you see the impact it has on our team.
Yeah, impressive stuff. Chauncey Wiggins, our truest hero of the game. As we're live here from Glory Days Grill in Tallahassee, our host location of Inside Seminole Basketball with Luke Laux. Stop by Monday nights during basketball season and be a part of the show. And we'll call it actually Wednesday nights this year, not Monday nights, 7 to 8 p.m. for an all-star selection of food, drinks, and to hear from Florida State basketball players and staff. Coming up here on our program, live from Glory Days Grill in Tallahassee, Robert McCray V and Kobe McGee. They've been something for this team here over the past couple of weeks. We'll talk about that with Coach and more when we come back. Live from Glory Days, we are back after this timeout. All right, great to be back. Our first edition here in the new year of Inside Seminole Basketball with the head coach, Luke Laux. Great to have everybody with us tonight here inside of Glory Days. Also watching wherever you may be on all Florida State men's basketball streaming platforms, and, of course, the Seminoles on Concord app as well. A re-air of this show on Thursday nights on ABC 27 at 7 p.m. here in Tallahassee. Coacher, I tell you what, you and I have talked a lot about Robert McRae V, and rightly so. I mean, this is a guy you brought in, one of your 5 senior transfers to your program here this season, and he's acted like a veteran player for you all season long. He's one of the elite passers in all of college basketball. I know that's something you and the staff really wanted to see out of him. You knew he could score, and, man, he stepped up in a big way and I think answered the call for you with his passing this season.
Yeah, when we were evaluating Robert McRae out of Jacksonville, we had an inside scoop because of Michael Fly was their associate head coach last year, so he's coached him. He's known him for a few years. And one of the main things was my biggest question, I wouldn't say concern, my biggest question is, can he play the point guard position?
Yeah.
He plays the point guard spot at times, but does he understand the game? Can he facilitate? Can he set up teammates? Because for the most of his career, he's been a scoring guard. He's been a combo guard that happens to play the point guard spot at times. As a pass-first point guard, that was one of the things that I really wanted, is someone that can set up your teammates and someone that can facilitate and run an offense and organize. And so as we approached Rob and those discussions started happening, that was my biggest thing. He wants to play in the NBA, and I think he has a chance. But I said, Rob, you can't be an undersized scoring guard. There's thousands of them across the world. You have to be able to play the point guard spot at a high level. To Rob's credit, he took that and has run with it. He's studied his tail off in terms of film. He's leaned into our coaching staff, and he's really embraced being a pass-first point guard that can score at a very high level. And that to me has been very beneficial for our team, and eventually will be beneficial for Rob's pro perspective.
Even with that emphasis on passing the ball, he's still our leading scorer, which is impressive. And he is the second fastest Seminole to get to 100 assists to start a season all time in Florida State basketball history. He is also, in his first game as a Nole, 17 assists was the new single-game record in his first game in a Florida State basketball uniform. And right now, 105 total assists this season for Robert McRae V, fifth most in all of college basketball. So he's doing pretty good right now for us at that guard spot.
If you would have told me back in the portal that Rob McRae was going to come in here and shatter all of my assist number, and I was a pass first point, I couldn't score at all, I would have been very pleased. And I'm going to keep asking more of Rob, because just like Chauncey, he is a huge part of our success. He's one of our 6 seniors, but someone that we really need to produce at a high level to win any of these games.
And we talked about Kobe McGee. I mean, that's a guy that's been the beneficiary of a lot of assists from Robert McRae V. And last week, Coach, he was heating up, and you need him to heat up as well, as a guy that knows how to score the basketball for you. Combined 8 threes made, 4 each versus Carolina and Duke. And when he's on, that just provides, it feels like, another dimension for what you guys want to do offensively, scoring the basketball.
Yeah, similar to Chauncey, Kobe had some rough games earlier in the season, and I think some of it was just mental. And he was worried about his misses instead of playing basketball and contributing to winning. Again, to Kobe's credit, he put in a ton of work in the gym. I think he's shooting around 35% right now in the ACC play. He's, I believe, in the 40s so far in our 2 games, which is where we need him to be. That's what we brought him in, to be a catch-and-shoot guy that can do some other things on the floor, but he's got to be able to knock down shots at a high level. Our offense is generated on attacking the basket, attacking the paint, and then when the help comes, kicking it out for catch-and-shoot threes. Early in the season, we just weren't making them.
Right.
And now guys like Kobe are stepping up. Those catch-and-shoot threes over the course of basketball history are a very efficient shot, as long as you attack the paint first and generate some help defense to rotate. Usually you're going to end up with a wide-open shot on the backside, which is where guys like Rob McRae have thrived with his assist numbers, and guys like Kobe, we're going to need to continue to play at the level he's playing in ACC play to have a chance.
Yeah, 14 threes made in that game against Duke this past Saturday. Luke Laux' Noles have made double-digit threes in the game 10 times already this season, a part of the offense that he and the staff want to run on that end of the floor. As Inside Seminole Basketball brought to you in part by Carver's Discount Cleaners. They are mean on stains and green on earth. Try new Eco Green Dry Cleaning at Carver's Discount Cleaners, 1242 North Monroe Street in Midtown. And did you know that FSU Athletics is self-supported, is not funded by tax dollars? We rely on fans to join Seminole Boosters so your teams have the best chance to succeed on and off the court. Membership starts at $5 per month and comes with great benefits. Go online to SeminoleBoosters.com to learn more. More to come. Our Scott and Wallace keys to success for this week are on the other side. Live from Glory Days Grill in Tallahassee. Great to be here on a Wednesday night. We are back after this timeout. And we're back in live here at Glory Days Grill in Tallahassee. Great to have so many Noles friends and family here with us for our first edition of Inside Seminole Basketball here in 2026. And our program brought to you in part by Wolfson Children's Hospital. Odds are beaten here at Wolfson Children's, always here, official Children's Hospital of Florida State Athletics, here with the head man, Luke Laux. Coach, we're going to get to this week and some of the things you guys have been working on, kind of the keys to a successful week coming up momentarily. We've been talking about a lot of your guys and some of your veterans. One of your younger guys that you brought in is Martin Somerville, who was the America East Rookie of the Year last season at UMass Lowell. And this is a guy who's been just an absolute deadeye from behind the three-point line, and he's made a three in 43 straight games dating back to last season, and one of the best in knocking down the triple in all of the ACC. What do you like the most about Martin and about how he has continued to grow with what you've asked him in your program so far?
Yeah, you touched on one of the main aspects that makes Martin a player that we really like is his ability to knock down shots. Going back to the portal, Terrence Mann was actually the one that brought Martin to us. Terrence called us, said, hey, there's a kid that's going to transfer. He's at a smaller level right now, but I've worked out with him back home quite a bit, and he's an incredible shooter, and most importantly, what I'm going to touch on now, and Terrence touched on it, he's got a great way about him. Yeah. And Martin, for being a younger guy, an underclassman, is probably the loudest and most consistent vocal leader on our team. And so the shooting is great, and you got to make shots to win games. But his presence in our locker room and his presence on our team as a leader has been astronomical and off the charts. So big thanks to Terrence Mann for bringing him to the table. Martin still got a lot of room to grow, which is exciting as a young guy. Defensively, he can get better. Touching the paint and finishing around the basket. As efficient as he is from the three-point line, he is not as efficient inside the paint and inside the arc. So we have to keep developing him. But the good thing about Martin is, again, his leadership quality, but also his work ethic. He's in the gym every day working on his weaknesses, and that's something you want to see from an underclassman that for his production has been rewarded with a starting spot.
I always enjoy being at practice or shoot around because I know exactly where Martin Somerville is at.
Oh,
you just hear him.
He never shuts up, in a good and a bad way. His teammates are going to hear him. The coaching staff's going to hear him. The kid is like a chihuahua that just barks all day long. But a lot of times in the serious moments, he has such a great presence, and he's not afraid to hold his teammates accountable, which is what you need from that position in the point guard and the off-ball spot. Yeah,
Martin leads Florida State with 36 threes this season. 2.4 threes per game made is ninth best in all of the ACC in his first year competing in the Atlantic Coast Conference. Hey, time now for our Scott and Wallace keys to success. Scott and Wallace, the official injury lawyers of Florida State Athletics. Scott and Wallace with offices in Tallahassee. This is a week where you have some time. You don't have a midweek game, so right away you get that midweek bye from the conference from a scheduling perspective. I know you and your staff have been out and about, out recruiting, and also, of course, keeping your guys sharp, getting ready for NC State. As you kind of viewed this week and mapped it out through your eyes, what were you hoping for from a successful week perspective thinking about it?
Yeah, it took a lot of planning. And that's where having guys like, Michael Fly on staff and Gerald Gillian that have been head coaches in college has been really great for me to lean on. I've never had a week off coaching in the NBA. You got 4 games a week and a lot of times a game every other night. So from a planning perspective, a lot of time went into what we were going to do. I hit the road immediately after the Duke game. To keep recruiting. As much as I would love to coach Chauncey Wiggins for the rest of my life, he's going to be gone. He's going to graduate, and 6 seniors are going to graduate, and I got to replace him. So I had to get out on the road and recruit. I saw a ton of great prospects across the state of Florida. I think I hit 5 or 6 different high schools and gyms, and saw some really talented kids. So that was great, and then just connecting with all of those grassroots people that a lot of times help make those decisions, I think was really valuable for our program midseason. And then we sent guys all over. Chris Kent right now is in Georgia, recruiting Georgia. We had guys in Jacksonville, really all over the state, again, trying to build on this foundation that we're laying down right now. And then the coaches that were back home obviously had film sessions. We had meetings on the phone, on Zoom, in terms of cleaning up the areas we needed to clean up from the Duke game, and then moving ahead onto NC State, coming to our place on Saturday. So we're shifting gears right now from cleaning up a lot of those mistakes, our workouts, getting our guys, back into the classroom for this spring semester, and now we're shifting all of our energy on NC State.
Yep, NC State coming up at the Tucker Center this Saturday. That's a noon Eastern tip. I'd love to see you pack the Tuck. We'll talk about the Wolfpack and that matchup coming up a little bit later on in the program. Well, as great as this group is shooting the 3 offensively, defensively, they're turning people over at a high rate. We'll talk with Coach about that and more when we come back live from Glory Days Grill in Tallahassee. We are back after this timeout.
Here is Jeff Culhane.
And welcome back, Glory Days Grill here in Tallahassee. Great to be with you inside Seminole basketball. The head coach, Luke Laux. My name is Jeff Culhane. I don't know who's doing more moving. Your guys on the hardwood, or your 2 daughters and son are flying around up here, getting after
Tell
it,
you
Coach.
what, they're active. If anyone wants to take them for a few weeks, feel free.
Yeah.
My wife needs a break.
Another few months left in this season, and then with the yeah, exactly right. We'll probably need a little breather. There you go.
She needs a vacation.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, she's not going to go anytime soon. I got to build this program.
That's right. That's exactly right. Well, Coach, we talked about how solid and how fun your group is to watch on the offensive end of the floor, and one of the best 3-point shooting teams in all of college basketball. But the way you have sped teams up and turned people over as well, as your group leads the ACC in turnovers forced, turnover margin, and steals per game right now. And I know your mentor, Leonard Hamilton, would be proud of that, to see that from this team as far as that on the defensive end of the floor. Give everybody a little look behind the curtain to your defensive philosophy and some of the things that you key on with your guys.
Yeah, you brought up Leonard Hamilton. I've had a lot of conversations with him, and will continue to do so as one of my mentors. He and Mike Brown, another one of my mentors, the head coach of the Knicks, both reminded me that defensively it's not good to allow the team just to drive in and shoot layups all game. And so we had a lot of correcting and adjusting to do in terms of our ball containment, and in terms of the risk reward of gambling. Right, yeah. And I like to give our players a lot of freedom. I think they were taking that freedom to the extreme, and we were gambling a lot and not being solid, which led to easy baskets if you don't create the turnovers. To Gerald Gillian's credit, who's our defensive coordinator, and a really good coach. He was a good head coach. He's going to be a head coach again. He made some minor tweaks and adjustments to our defense in terms of just our paint and ball containment, which to me has really led to some better defensive games. Now, one of my philosophies defensively is to disrupt the offense, and that's what we're going to continue to do. You can do that in a variety of different ways, through switching defenses and schemes, through your ball pressure, but most importantly, through our gap, I call it a shift, our gap pressure. When the ball beats the initial defender or even gets a step on the initial defender, we teach our gap help to attack. And that's number one, keeps the ball to the paint, but number two, leads to a lot of turnovers and on-ball turnovers, which create easy offense going the other way. It's going to be a staple of ours, and obviously we have foundational things we have to continue to improve defensively. But turning the opponent over, to me, is the easiest way to get out and score on the other end, as long as you're not putting your defensive principles in danger and giving up easy points for the opponent. So all that being said, I'm really fortunate to work with a guy like Gerald Gillian that has a lot of creative ideas defensively. Our defense will continue to improve as the season goes on. But turning the opponent over is one of our goals, as well as protecting the rim and protecting the paint.
And they've done a fantastic job at that here, as we mentioned, throughout the season. Wanted to switch gears a bit, as we saw this earlier this week. A couple of your guys getting it done in the classroom as well, academically. Sean Muhammad and Alex Steen were named to the Florida State Fall 2025 Dean's List just a couple of days ago. Sean, 3.50 GPA. Alex, a 3.55 GPA. Getting it done there.
Yeah, I'm really happy for those two. We were, I think, one or two poor grades away from setting the all-time GPA in our first semester for Florida State men's basketball, which another thing Leonard Hamilton has encouraged. I grew up, my father was a school teacher. I had no choice but to get good grades. I wasn't allowed to play sports if I didn't hold a certain grade point average growing up. So it's been instilled in me from a young age how important academics are. And these kids need to graduate. They need to treat the classroom with as much emphasis as they treat the court. Because eventually all of those habits in life help you. And so credit to those two guys and our whole team in general. No one had significantly bad grades where I had to walk in a room and address it. We can get a little bit better. I hope to set that record soon and often and consistently. But our academics will remain a priority at Florida State.
Yep, absolutely. It's our program brought to you in part by our friends at Truist. When you work with someone who knows a lot and cares even more, you're unstoppable. So start feeling like it today. Visit Truist.com/care. Truist, leaders in banking, unwavering in care. Truist Bank, member FDIC. Coming up, one final segment with the head coach, Luke Laux. We'll get his thoughts on the matchup with NC State Saturday inside the Tucker Center. That and more on the way. We are back after this timeout. And we are back. Great to be with you. The first of 8 here in 2026. We're fired up to have everybody with us here tonight, live from Glory Days Grill in Tallahassee for Inside Seminole Basketball with Luke Laux. Time for our opponent preview segment, getting ready for NC State coming to town on Saturday afternoon. Wear gold, by the way, Noles fans. We want to make the Tucker Center a gold. Do you have a gold jacket, like a camel hair?
I don't, but I can go get one. I can find one.
Yeah.
Some gold chains, gold jacket.
I know you got gold chains
pants.
somewhere.
Yeah.
I know you got gold chains somewhere. It's our FRLA opponent segment. FRLA proud to support FSU athletics, bringing unmatched rivalry and heart-pumping competition to the Big Bend region. Sporting events boost the local economy, filling hotel rooms, restaurant tables, and creating unforgettable experiences for residents and visitors alike. To learn more about Florida's hospitality industry and the events we support, visit FRLA.org. The Wolfpack coming to town. They got a win last night against Boston College, and I know you got a lot of respect for the talent this team has on Saturday. Yeah,
but Will Wade has won just about everywhere he's gone. There's a lot of reasons for that. Now he's a really good coach. He seems to always put together really competitive teams that match his personality. He's a real competitor. He's worked on some great staffs. He was actually on the VCU staff that beat us to go to the Elite Eight, which still stings me in a bad way. But Will has done a really good job very quickly with that NC State team, putting together a roster that is very, very talented and dangerous. They've poured a ton of money into basketball there at NC State. It's obviously a place where they have a lot of basketball history. They want to win at a high level. They've put together a roster with those finances that's very talented. They're 2-1 right now in the ACC. They had one tough loss, but they're a team that is going to do some damage for years to come. So we're really excited to match up with them, especially at home. I'm a big believer in putting forth your best effort no matter where you play, but especially at home where you can play in front of your home community, your home crowd, the Tallahassee and Seminole faithful.
Yes.
You always want to put on a good performance for your local crowd.
Yeah.
And so we're really excited to match up with this NC State team that quite frankly has some guys that will make a lot of money playing basketball for a long time.
Yeah, Darian Williams, one of those guys, preseason ACC Player of the Year. Heck of a player. Again, wear gold on Saturday. Also, Truist will be giving away 1,000 gold Florida State basketball T-shirts. The first 1,000 fans, courtesy of Truist. Coach, we always appreciate you. Thanks so much for your time, and we can't wait to watch your team again
Thanks
on
for
Saturday
having me.
afternoon.
Got to go get these kids to bed.
Get them to bed. There you go. He's the head coach, Luke Laux. My name is Jeff Culhane. Chauncey Wiggins is up next. Don't go anywhere, Knowles fans. We are back after this timeout. All right, we're fired up to be back as we roll along on a Wednesday night, live from Glory Days Grill here in Tallahassee. Welcome back to Inside Seminole Basketball. Big thanks to the head coach, Luke Laux, being a part of this first show in 2026. We give a big round of applause to Chauncey Wiggins, everybody, who's joining us here on the main table. Great to see you, big guy.
Good to see you, too.
How are you?
Good, and you?
You're doing great. Thanks so much for your time. Man, what a week for you last week. You had two of your best games in a Florida State uniform in the garnet and gold. I know we didn't get the results we were looking for at the end of the day, but, man, you played great. Just kind of talk about last week for you and how you felt out there on the floor.
Yeah, just coming into 2026, really just want to play with a free mindset, Wish we got the win, but, I'm just trying to just be productive out there on the floor and just try to get a win.
Yeah, tied a career high against Duke in that game on Saturday with 22 points. Also tied a career high. He made 4 threes in that game as well, and you're a guy that has that skill set to shoot it from way downtown. Yeah. How does this offensive style and scheme with Coach Laux and this staff, Chauncey, fit who you are as a basketball player?
Yeah, I mean, I've been a shooter since a young age. So when Laux recruited me here and said, I want you to shoot threes, I was all for it, That's what most of us do. That's what we're going to live by. And, that was just the pitch coming here. So, also, too, I'm a 3-low scorer, can score inside, outside, mid-range area. So, it's pretty good.
Yeah, you're a guy that's one of 6 seniors on this team, 5 senior transfers, and a guy that's played the most of anybody on this team in the ACC. How have you tried to kind of communicate what it takes to be successful in this league to some of your guys and to some of your teammates here over the past couple of weeks or in practice as well?
I just really try to tell the guys, like when we go on these road trips, most of these places are going to be loud. So, don't let the crowd get into it. Just stay connected, and then just try to tell them my experiences because, some of them ask, how was this? How was March, when you went? How was this arena? And I'm like, it's crazy, but, we have to stay connected. So I just try to tell them my experiences.
Yeah. Your parents also pretty darn good at basketball.
They are.
Are they not?
Yes,
Let's talk about your parents for a second. Your father, Michael, played at Wichita State, but your mother might be the star of the entire family.
I think she is.
She's in the Missouri State Athletics Hall of Fame as a women's basketball player. Lawanta, am I saying her name correctly? Lawanta.
Yes, Lawanta.
What a star.
Yes.
Talk about your parents a little bit.
Okay, I'll talk about my mom first. So, growing up, I knew I really wanted to play basketball because every month in February, in February, we always went to Missouri State.
Okay.
And they always had a Hall of Fame, show there.
Sure.
So, I always saw, her picture. I saw her old coaches. They told me stories about her when she was in college, how many points she scored, all that stuff. So then I took in all the stories at a young age. So that was, very cool to see. And then my dad, he would always just, we go out in the driveway, shoot. He'll pull up some pictures of himself. He was more of a, he was a shooter, but he was also a rebounder and all that, more physical guy. But he also won a lot of games at Wichita State. So I just took in everything that they showed me, listened to their experiences. So,
Lawanta, there she is,
Lawanta,
Missouri State Athletics Hall of Fame. That's fantastic. All right, couple of items, non-basketball items before I let you go. You and I talked. You were on the podcast that I do before. Your favorite movie is Cars.
Yes.
That's
Cars.
right.
Lightning McQueen.
Lightning
yes.
McQueen.
Yes.
Where did that start? Where did that come from?
I think my mom just showed me Lightning McQueen one day, and I just started I just fell in love with it. You know, she got me. I want to say for my 6th birthday, she got me a Cars car. I still have the picture of it. So I was driving around the house, Lightning McQueen. She always got me the covers, pajamas, blankets, shirts. Everything was Cars when I was little.
You are Cars branded.
Yes, I was.
Yeah.
Still am. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I love it. That's fantastic. Well, I tell you what, it's been fun watching you, getting it going here. What a great week, and we wish you all the success
Thank you.
throughout the Saturday, obviously, and throughout the rest of the season.
Thank you so much.
There you go.
I
Give it up for
appreciate it.
Chauncey
Thank you.
Wiggins, everybody. What a week he had, and what a season he's had so far for this Florida State basketball team. Our student-athlete segment is brought to you by Seminole Boosters. Coming up, our general manager and assistant coach, Michael Fly, stops by the program. That and more on the way. We are back after this timeout.
Inside Seminole basketball.
And we are back one final time here on Wednesday night. Again, looking forward to being here each and every Wednesday during the Florida State basketball season, live from Glory Days Grill in Tallahassee. Welcome back to Inside Seminole Basketball. As our program is brought to you in part by the Florida Department of Highway Safety and Motor Vehicles, here to remind you that if alcohol is in the mix, driving isn't. Plan ahead, designate a driver, grab a ride share, or stay put. Winning starts with smart choices. Drive sober, arrive alive. Go Noles. And we would also like to thank Grassroots Coffee for their support of Florida State basketball. I've got the new Sixth Man blend right here, the coffee that supports the Noles at grassrootscoffee.com. You order that, and the proceeds go right to the Florida State basketball program. Grassroots Coffee, made for everyone, loved everywhere. And scan that QR code you saw a little bit earlier. Michael Fly, I know you drink coffee, right?
Probably a little more than I should.
Well, here you go. Little 6-man blend, big
That's
guy.
perfect.
There we
That's
go.
perfect.
Let's give it up for Michael Fly, everybody, our general manager and assistant coach on Luke Laux' staff. It's great to see you, as always, Coach. Thanks so much for your time. Kind of walk me through these last 7 or 8 months or so. I know it's been a lot of work, and I'm sure probably feels amazing that we're already in conference play in this first season back here in Florida State.
Yeah, it's been a little bit of a blur. Obviously, it some days seems like we just started, and then all of a sudden you wake up and we're in ACC play. For me, it's been a really special opportunity to come back to a place that really formed me from, I think I was here from age 25 to 28 when Coach Laux was a freshman point guard and I was a 25-year-old video coordinator. So it's been really fun to come back and spend time with him in a totally different way, totally different role. I think the staff that he put together really makes sense in terms of experience, in terms of prior relationships, new relationships, people at different points in their career, so everybody's able to kind of fit together piece by piece. We worked really hard, as you guys know, on the roster, trying to find guys that fit the way that Coach Laux wants to play in year one. So, yeah, it's been a whirlwind, but we've really enjoyed it as well.
Yeah, take me back to that time. You mentioned it, 2008 to 2011. You're Leonard Hamilton's video coordinator, and Luke Laux is a young player on this Florida State basketball team. To be there, be here at that time, that experience for you, how would you describe it and turn into you into the type of coach that you are today?
Yeah, it really formed me. I mean, prior to my time at Florida State, I'd spent 1 year in NAIA basketball at Georgetown College. I went to University of Kentucky, but I wasn't part of Coach Smith's staff there. Spent 1 year in the NBA with the Charlotte Hornets with Coach Bernie Bickerstaff. But Coach Hamilton, Coach Jones, those guys, Coach Infield, Coach Williams, they really formed who I was as a young coach. And going from a video coordinator to third assistant to top assistant to head coach at one point, most of what I did was based on what I learned in Tallahassee. And so it was a great experience at that time. It's great to be back. And it's interesting, you know, with Coach Kitchen, with Derwin Kitchen on the staff, and obviously with Coach Laux, you know, we do some reminiscing, but also there's a lot of work to get back to the level that we got to experience at that point.
Yep, a head coach himself at Florida Gulf Coast. How do you feel like that experience has been beneficial in working with this staff and with Luke in his first go as a head coach as well? How do you share some of your knowledge with him to help where you can?
Yeah, it's interesting. Ironically, Will Wade told me this. I know we're going to play them, but the day I got the Florida Gulf Coast job, he called me, and I've known Coach Wade for a while, and he said, hey, this isn't going to make any sense to you right now, but the way this should work in this business is you should really get a head coaching job first. You should get fired. You should be an assistant. Then you should be a head coach. And at the time, I thought, I don't know what this guy's talking about. And then I understand it after going through it. So it's been interesting. Since being a head coach, I've worked with Dennis Gates, with Jordan Mincy, and now with Coach Laux.
Yeah.
And you have a whole different understanding of the demands of that seat.
Sure.
You know, the first time I was an assistant, I had all the answers.
Sure, right.
Now I jokingly say to Coach Laux, hey, it's just a suggestion. Your program, you do what you like. So I think you have a lot of grace for what he's going through, for the pressures of the job, for when the head coach, when you've been a head coach yourself, if the head coach is a little too high, you try to bring them back down a little bit. But more importantly, when they're low, you try to bring them up.
Yeah.
And so I hope it's helped the head coaches that I've been with since I've been in that seat myself.
Yep.
But sometimes those days seem like another lifetime ago.
Yeah.
But when I see the look on Coach's face sometime, all three of those guys, I just try to remind them, hey, man, especially in this situation, year one's year one. I say that to Coach Laux a lot. And then we have a running joke, and obviously we are enjoying the experience tremendously. But some days when I see the look on his face, I jokingly say, are you having fun yet? and he always says yes. So I hope my experiences, both successes and failures, have contributed to Coach Gage, Coach Mincy, and hopefully Coach Louds' success.
General manager. That's new from a standpoint of college athletics and college basketball. Let people know about that side of your role and responsibilities and what it's like out there right now.
Yeah, so, when Coach Laux hired me, the plan was to be a traditional assistant, and he actually asked me on one of the first phone calls, what do you want to oversee? What do you feel most comfortable? And I just told him, I said, this is year 20. I've run an offense, I've run a defense, I've done the special situations. Whatever you need me to do is what I'm going to do. It really doesn't matter to me at this point in my career. The one thing I told him, I said, I'm always going to recruit. I learned that from Coach Hamilton. You can do all the offense, defense. You can be great on the board. If you don't have enough talent, it doesn't matter.
Right.
And so we went to work building the roster, myself and Coach, and then Coach Gillian joined, and then Coach Kent and Coach Moran. But we spent a lot of time together through the recruiting process. And as he went to hire a general manager, he'll tell you the story, but I actually recommended someone else and a few other people because that just wasn't on my radar. I was thinking about being a head coach again and being an assistant, and the opportunity arose. It's a great experience for me to learn really a new job in college basketball. I also think it's a big need in our program in terms of not just traditional recruiting, but a lot of my role now is traditional recruiting, but it's also learning what everyone in the country is doing in terms of roster building, roster management, player acquisition, and then going out and trying to implement those strategies here at Florida State in terms of making this roster as good as we can make it with the resources that we have.
Yeah, it's fascinating stuff. There's no doubt about it. I'm sure you've already run into some interesting situations as well. That's for sure. We got about 30 seconds. Your thoughts on your guys against NC State coming up this weekend?
Yeah, so based on that general manager title, I have not watched a lot of film on NC State.
Sure.
I've been on the phone a lot,
Sure.
but I've known Coach Wade for years. I know what he's about. I know kind of style of play, what he's looking for. They're extremely talented. Their roster is very well funded. We'll put it at that. So it's going to be a big test for us, a big challenge. But if we can continue to improve the way I think we improved against Carolina and Duke, then if we play well, we'll be in the game and have a chance to win the game.
Always great, Coach. Thanks for your time.
Absolutely. Appreciate you having me.
He's Michael Fly, everybody. Thanks so much for being with us in our first edition of Inside Seminole Basketball live from Glory Days in Tallahassee. Have a great night, and as always, go Noles. Great job.